This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Maui Madness. A new 1v1 map here in Red Alert 3, and I am all about that. Whoa! That zoom level is absolutely crazy. I don't know what this is. I don't know what Empire player is opening double power plant, but let's get into that in just a moment. Here we have on the left side playing the Cyan. This is Tittywinkle. Classic name. On the right side, not going double power plant. This is Zaku. If you ever wanted to see, that's what it looks like. Anyways, we've got ourselves a brand new 1v1 map. Someone sent this into the email, and I wanted to check it out. One of the interesting, quote-unquote interesting features is there appears to only be one oil derrick. So unlike Fire Island or Temple Prime or some of these maps where the oil derricks are a little coin flippy, this one is more literally a coin flip in that there's just one coin that is flipping. And other than that, one thing that I think I like is that you have this pretty close high ground expansion. It's not super close, but because it is high ground and it is sort of this like one ramp up, I think that'll be okay, but your fourth is way out, and it is very close to your opponent's fourth. It's just over one screen away in terms of distance. So this looks like it will be a very 3 refinery heavy map. And in this case, the fight for the oil derrick is one that you can either choose to go for or choose to try and snipe the other guy's engineer. But it looks like this map is unorthodox. They made some choices in the design of this map that are unusual, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. They've made some choices that make me go, okay, I think these are bad choices, but maybe it'll turn out that they're actually good choices. Sometimes you need something that is different from the normal to sort of prove what is possible. And this map has some choices, like one of them is this single ramp up to the high ground. I think that's a bad idea, but I can't prove it. And like the distance to the fourth and how close the fourths are to each other, the fact that there's only one oil derrick on the map, these all seem like bad ideas, but I am happy to be proven wrong. And it is a map that is different. We have so much stability in the map pool, which in RTS I think is a generally not a great thing. I'm totally fine with there being some maps that are very long-standing. We don't need to, do 7 or 9 new maps every couple of months. We can have some maps that are long-standing in the pool. I'm totally fine with that. But I do think that one of the strengths of competitive RTS as a genre, as a format, is the fact that you have to play on different maps. This is not like some FPS and some MOBAs where you're literally playing on the same map all the time, and the internal components of the map may change, but the map layout itself, the map itself, does not change from year to year to year to year. One of the strengths of, man, I feel like the glow is turned up on this map. It is way glowier. I thought it was just the Cyan player, but no, these tank busters are maxing out on glow, and that's not anything I'm doing. It's showing up in game for me here, so I'm not sure what is going on, but the glow is absolutely insane on this map. Hero tank buster gliding up there for Zaku. He is out of cash, but he has knocked down that high ground third from his opponent. Tengu's gonna go for the transform. It's a 2-1 on the Tengus, so purple will win that fight. Turns out getting the oil derrick is good, and then we also have this observation post in the middle of the map as well. Refinery there on the high ground, so Zaku has taken that third up on the high ground, so he is in a very comfortable position here. We'll see if the faster tech will yield big results. That Harvester actually got to do a decent amount of damage, and it turns out that's kind of a terrible spot for a Mecha Bay, the fact that it can be shot from the high ground like this, although maybe it's just the heroic tank buster And in that case, then I guess that placement is all right. Tank Buster gets the kill on the Tsunami tank. Tsunami goes down, and it'll take a long time for the Chopper VXs to kill these Tank Busters, but they will do it eventually. Eventually. Man, those flashbangs coming out from those Chopper VXs. Looks like the Chopper VXs will do it with their dying bodies. 2 dead Chopper VXs, and Zaku, he doesn't necessarily need to commit in these Tengus to this attack right now. He can play this one out a little bit slower, and he is going to commit the Tengus into the attack, so he wants to get the kill right now. He doesn't want to wait for reinforcements. He wants to go, go, go. And I mean, hey, in this case, that does work for him because the production is halted. Nothing will emerge from the Mecha Bay. And I can't, like, sometimes the glow on maps is a bit much, but in this case, the glow on this map in particular is just absolutely crazy. A little bit of a snowball happening here with Zaku, and it looks like these 2 Tengus are not going to be able to kill this Mecha Bay before whatever else comes in. These couple of Tank Busters have been hanging out nearby, but they haven't actually committed into the attack just yet. King Oni steps out, and Zaku does not have units that are good at dealing with a King Oni, and this one defender has absorbed so much damage. The attempt to kill the Mecha Bay has failed. And Zaku, I don't know if he never upgraded his Mecha Bay. I think he never got tier 2. I was expecting Chopper VXs, Tsunamis, something tier 2 to show up at some point, but Zaku seems to have gone for a 4th refinery and then just keep pumping out those Tengus. And I mean, hey, King Oni can be killed by Tank Busters, but when you bull rush all of them like that, it is hard to do, and that's simply not the way to do it. The micro might be coming in here from Zaku, and maybe this King Oni will eventually go down, but for the current moment, those Tank Busters just got blasted and bought a ton of space, or that King Oni bought a ton of space for the Mecha Bay. Tengus can be produced more easily, anything as a follow-up, or even a couple of Imperial Warriors to help deal with these Tank Busters coming out from Zaku. Some big missteps here, but the fast tier 3 turns out to be a huge benefit to Tittywinkle, who now has a Wave Force artillery. I can't believe that Zaku, who I think is, you know, might be playing this one out a little bit more for fun as opposed to going for the win, because he went for a 4th, he went for a naval yard and another generator before getting his tier 2 on his Mecha Bay, where he had an amazing opportunity. If he had gotten out like 1 Chopper VX earlier, he could have won the game by this point. One King Oni does go down, the other one is here on the low ground. And another thing that you don't see a lot of is this formation of water on most Red Alert 3 maps. The land is an island, and that is for a reason. You don't see a lot that are split in this way with water only on the top half for a reason. And again, I'm happy to be proven wrong about this kind of stuff. I'm happy to be shown a better, more interesting way to play Red Alert 3. And if that's through interesting map design that is different than what we're used to in the past, I am 100% behind that. Yuriko shows up as well. That's why we haven't had the sell-off of the tier 3. We wanted to upgrade that barracks as well. And no Mecha Bay, but the MCV has survived, so the Mecha Bay will be rebuilt. Yuriko has been revealed, and this naval yard is still here. For the current moment, not being used for anything, but is still here. And Yuriko can be overwhelmed by Tengus. We'll see if the King Onis are able to help with that. Is it currently 2 Tengus out on the map? That's not a lot of Tengus. Chopper VX is coming back in, and they may be able to knock down this MCV. One of them is heroic, so he does that bonus damage, and the MCV is not packing up just yet. War Factory may not be the only thing you have to worry about. If your MCV goes down, you better have a way to get yourself back in the game. losing a Mecha Bay and an MCV is going to be difficult to come back from, but maybe you just need 1 or 2 units, a Yuriko and a King Oni. The Tengu's getting juggled here. It's pretty much perfect here, as they can only get a couple of shots at a time, and they should be... No, the juggling actually is perfect. Finally, Yuriko goes down, and okay, that should pretty much spell the doom of Tittywinkle. Zaku, what is this naval yard for, man? King Oni gets the bull rush on 2 Tengus, and the 3rd goes down. The Chopper VXs didn't come home, and now they're not even transforming. They get blasted out of the sky. Oh no, Zaku finding himself on the door of defeat when he should have been smashing open the door of victory. And what an amazing lineup there. The Wave Force Artillery targets the War Factory, but is lined up with the power plant and the refinery. 2 heroic units. They may not be stopped here, as this MCV is going to be taking massive damage from that King Oni. Goodbye to the MCV, unless there is a big misstep by the King Oni and the Wave Force Artillery. This might just be lights out, and maybe the naval yard will be the thing that saves him in the end. It's being shot up by these Tengus. Zaku there on the front line, managing to snatch victory from the jaws, or snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Tittywinkle with the turnaround here. Yuriko ended up being the way to go. The naval yard is down, and just the barracks remains on the high ground. The King Oni is low on health, and this is 4 tank busters. They're going to jump on the King Oni, who does not bull rush them down, and that's going to be the end of the King Oni. So now the Tengus show up. They're a little bit late to the party. One of them is heroic, trading out with these tank busters. The War Factory is still here on the other side of the map, so there is always the chance of more production. And now we have one there was a refinery on the high ground, 1 oil derrick, and 1 barracks for Zaku. So as long as these tank busters, which this defender should switch back over to ground attack, the Tengus think there's a hidden base. Zaku is in his opponent's mind, and the tank busters are getting free damage somehow. When they couldn't break this position earlier, they managed to do it now. Zaku turning it around with an all-infantry play, and the other units are just too slow to cross the map. They didn't go up to the high ground, so Tittywinkle is now going to turn around, and he manages to get his Tengus back home, but they get blasted. There's too many Tengus, or there's too many tank busters, and the Tengus don't arrive at the right time. Imperial Warrior now going to try and get into a building, and the Imperial Warrior goes down. That range on the heroic tank buster is pretty crazy as well, so they can do massive damage to those buildings from inside of that Civ structure. Refinery goes down. It is truly down to this last barracks, and the Wave Force Artillery may just be able to rush it down. It is going to get targeted. It one blast, and that's it. Before anything can close the distance, Zaku has been defeated because the Wave Force Artillery heroic outranges everything else. A super fun game there, and the first one here on Maui Madness. But I do want you to know that this video is powered by Silver Knight PCs, a veteran-owned custom PC shop out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Over the years, they've built a ton of super customized PCs, some of them with custom graphics and full tower wraps. You can bring your favorite game out of your PC and into your room. They can also theme or color match the PC components to your build. With this For the Horde build, they used a GPU that had metal rails and red accents to match the rest of the PC. So if you're looking for a custom-built PC for the holidays, head over to silverknightpcs.com and check out the Custom Build PC tab. This form allows you to specify a ton of preferences, not just a budget slider. And you can also tell them your primary use case for your computer. So if you want a blacked-out workstation, they've got you covered. If you only play certain types of games, they can adjust the build to match your use case. So big thanks to Silver Knight PCs for supporting my channel, and you can find the link to their website in the description and in the pinned comment. And we're sticking with the lava flows of Maui Madness for game number 2. Returning, sticking with Empire, playing the yellow. This is Tittywinkle. I might send some feedback to the map maker that the bloom needs to be turned down on this map. On the left side, this is K-Back. Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's something about this map that is a lot more bloomy. Some of the other maps, I don't know, sometimes Fire Island I feel like can be pretty bloomy, but this is just another level from the other maps. And I feel like the torches as well, like you can see the like, I don't know, box blur or whatever that's going on. You can see the box being drawn around the glow, the flame of the torches from the glow. So something is going wrong there that doesn't normally go wrong. We have an MCV move right away, and it was a crane opener from this Soviet player. Getting to see a little bit of a different style here with a Soviet versus Empire. Not even going to be contesting the oil derrick in the south. So the oil derrick, or the dojo, gets deployed. The barracks produces 2 engineers, one for the observation post and one for the oil derrick. So this is, I think, the version 1 of the map. There is a version 2 of the map that is out. So we're going to be taking a look at some games from the version 2 of the map as well. But I wanted to kind of get oriented with this new map. And I don't know that we're going to ever see it again. But, you know, I wanted to check it out at least once. 4? What is going on? Where's the Mecha Bay? Where's the Tengus? We need some kind of punishment for this 4 refinery opening from the Soviet player. Absolutely crazy greed here from a Soviet player. No barracks so far. Okay, no, there is a barracks. There is a barracks so far, but no war factory. And he's going out onto the water. No way he is playing 5 refinery. Yeah, like, what do you expect to happen? Why is the Chopper VX not firing? Shoot, shoot, shoot! Could have gotten a couple of extra shots there. Refinery being deployed immediately, and a flak cannon as well. Where's the second Chopper VX? Okay, there it is. We do have 2 Chopper VXs. It is a bit of a race against these flak cannons. Could also try to pivot to the north side of this building, or try and fly directly over it if you want to just sacrifice it. Flak cannon comes up in time. 2 Chopper VXs not fast enough, and will be just blasting. And I might have to put a seizure warning on the beginning of this video because of all of the flashing lights in here. But 2 Chopper VXs, 3 Chopper VXs out on the map. Flak Cannon's going to be tagging them a little bit here, and more flak troopers ready and waiting. So already the flak is coming up, and the Chopper VXs are not all joined together, so they can't dump damage into any vulnerable target. There are lots of vulnerable areas that you could find if you had all of your if you had all of your Chopper VXs together. But in this case, the Chopper VXs are not all together. They're spread out, which means they're not actually able to knock down these targets fast enough. Even here, the flak troopers are probably going to be here before the refinery goes down. The flak troopers will at least be able to respond. Chopper VX is now going to be splitting up, and it's actually working out. In this case, 1 Chopper VX goes down. The others haven't been given an attack command, so they're just sitting there wasting away as this refinery gets saved. Meanwhile, 1 crane has gone down in the main base, what used to be the main base of K-Back. And the Chopper VXs, they have met their match in the flak defenses of K-Back. Tittywinkle is going to have to find a different angle for this game than just a couple of Chopper VXs, but we at least have the tsunami tanks moving out onto the map, and turns out flak cannons can't shoot down, so this is going to be 1 dead harvester, possibly a dead refinery, and yeah, it could also start trying to chip away at those flak cannons also to try and knock them down, eliminate some of that static defense, and the rush has been stopped. The tsunami tank rush to the front line has been stopped by the presence of one single Tesla coil. Again, some big vulnerabilities up here in the north. The crane is now up, back up, I should say, so the crane can build new defenses, and no expansion taken just yet from our Empire player, which is somewhat understandable because he has been teching and producing a lot of units. But we now have the Tesla coils out on the map. Refinery will take a little bit of damage, but it's really the harvester that is going down there. And the tsunami tanks, if they activate their nano deflectors, they may be able to just run over all of these flak troopers. There we go. We got most of the flak troopers. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of them survived the first guy, but won't survive the next 2 tsunami tanks. Harvesters already with that adaptive armor activated means they're going to take a little while to kill. Couple of tsunamis on the south, couple of chopper VXs in the north, and it looks like a third refinery coming up finally for Tiddlywinkle. Double Tesla coil. No, it's a Tesla coil and a flak cannon coming up. And, well, 2 tsunami tanks are going to have a difficult time dealing with that. Flak Trooper did manage to get the kill on one of the tsunami tanks, and now it's just one lone tsunami tank left for Tiddlywinkle, and the Tesla coil gets the kill there. Tier 3 coming up. Yuriko helped with the victory last time. Can she help again this time? This is still going to be a 4 refinery Soviet player versus a 3 refinery Empire player. But in this case, we have 3 harvesters on one side and 4 harvesters on the other side. So not all of these refineries have been working refineries in the course of this game. Chopper VX is going to be running away, and it looks like the super reactor will survive for now. Bullfrog going to get jumped on. The Bullfrog will go down. Should be another Bullfrog ready, though. And that's a difficult game to try and play with only 2 Chopper VXs. You can't really significantly turn and burn anything with only 2 Chopper VXs. If you've got 4 or 5, you could have cleared out the base before the Bullfrogs were able to knock them down. But in this case, 2 Chopper VXs can be dealt with. Burst drone, maybe gonna get a little bit of a scout. Okay, Yuriko, it will be produced from this barracks on the high ground, and we're going into a psionic decimator as well. So K-Back really doesn't believe in building many units. A couple of stingrays, couple of bullfrogs, couple of flak troopers, but other than that, no war factory from our Soviet player. Very alternative styles of gameplay coming out from both players. This is not your, high-level 1v1 kind of a focus on trying to win the game as quickly as possible. These are folks having a good time on this different sort of a map, and you know what? We can do that every now and again. We can have a good time, and we'll see if Yuriko is able to knock everything down. There is a Tesla coil down here. There are a couple of conscripts as well, and it's low power mode for the Soviet player. K-Back starts the reactor up there in the north, and Yuriko actually pulls back, so she does not have an opportunity to jump into this base while it's low power mode. Maybe she could have caught that Tesla coil if she would have been fast enough, but no, it will not be. Naginatana cruisers claiming nothing. Okay, they're going to start firing now. Should go ahead and fire off their special ability torpedoes. Doesn't really need to focus on shooting the bullfrogs at the current moment. Really should just focus on those stingrays, and no reinforcements. So that's going to be a difficult thing to do anything about. King Oni shows up, helps Yuriko knock down this base, and it looks like King Oni absorbed a couple of shots from that Tesla coil, and the satellites will drop onto this naval yard. Although a second Naginata, she shows up and should be able to knock down at least 1 or 2 of these stingrays. Do they activate their overcharge, though, to kill off this Naginata faster? The answer is no. They just shoot it the old-fashioned way, knocking it down piece by piece. King Oni goes down to the Tesla coil. Meanwhile, Yuriko moving out to the water expansion. These ore collectors don't have guns, and Yuriko may not even need to focus down that Tesla coil quickly because it is building slowly. Although she does want to focus it down. And no, it's a full fire sale out here on the water. Everything must go. And the Stingrays haven't actually tried to walk up on the land because there's a King Oni there. So no hope for those Stingrays to get a quick victory by backdooring the main base of the Empire player. King Oni will keep everything at bay, and Yuriko is the hero after all. She's the one that will lead the Empire of the Rising Sun to victory. And I guess this game might go on long enough for a Sonic Decimator to be activated, but when you've got Stingrays, it's difficult to do anything against a King Oni. If the Stingrays were here, Yuriko could juggle 2 of them, so you would probably need more than 2 Stingrays. But eventually, they will kill a Yuriko. Not if being juggled, however. Yuriko with Psychokinetic Burst will knock down a lot of these conscripts. And let's be honest, conscripts aren't particularly good at killing other things anyways. The juggling, as Yuriko loves the circus. The bear will show up, and Yuriko isn't trying to gain any ground on this base, so this is just going to be like a pure juggling act, as if the bears can close the distance, they cannot at the current moment. And are there any Tengus crossing the map? One single Tengu could really change the course of this game. And there's the second Psychokinetic Burst to knock down everything. And the bears will rush. This is double barracks bear production. And King Oni does not care for the bears. But there is also a building over here, and bears notoriously bad at killing off buildings. This is so many bears. One single Tengu would change this entire game. But in this case, it's going to be Yuriko versus Mass Bear, and Yuriko has a suit of armor known as a house. And that is just not going to work out very well for the Soviet player. King Oni will knock everything else down. No, King Oni will die to the flak troopers. There's 2 little flak guys in that base defending the Soviet place. But it is difficult when you have only a barracks to do very much else at all. Double barracks is good. He can rebuild that harvester. He can get that economy back online. But K-Back is in a pretty tough spot. Yuriko might get overwhelmed by these bears. Let's see. Does she have her special ability ready? She does. And a hero Yuriko can rip through a lot of bears. There is no second wave of the bears, although they may be produced now. Cancel the harvester. Cancel the harvester to get out the bears. And Yuriko just runs right past that first, and there goes the economy. Runs right past that first refinery, runs past the barracks, and the power plant will go down. Still no single Tengu, which would really do a lot to eliminate this bear threat from Yuriko. But the Psychokinetic Burst, as long as it has time to recharge, she can deal with pretty much an infinite number of bears, and that will do it for our second game of the Maui Madness Showcase. Definitely some for fun games being played here, and I hope you guys are enjoying them. Let's jump into another match. And we can all rejoice because the glow has been turned down. I did email the map maker, and apparently there was a bit of an oversight on the glow, and the new setting is down like 70%. So the map maker, Natasha, didn't just cut it in half, but reduced it by more than 2/3. So, and apparently because it's just a VFX thing in the game, you can change the lighting settings on the map without affecting the replays. So that is nice, because we're going to be checking out version 2 of the map. The first games that we saw on Maui Madness were version 1, but now we are into version 2. Some slight adjustments. But again, Natasha said it plays pretty much the same as version 1. So let's see what more madness is here for us on Maui. On the right side, playing the Allies, this is Yasumi. And on the left side, playing the purple Soviets, this is Zaku. No 4 refinery opener for this Soviet player, or I guess no crane into like 5 refineries like we had for one of those previous games. Allies versus Soviets this time, and a very commonly timed war factory here. It is going to be War Factory before Super Reactor or anything, so there is going to be a potential window to move the MCV over to the 3rd refinery before that Super Reactor. Airfield is now up for our allied player, and of course with this singular oil derrick, we do have the fight for the middle ground oil derrick, which in this case was not a fight at all. Soviets did not want to go for that, and instead it is going to be 2nd reactor, so this should be an MCV move over to the expansion. Otherwise you would just typically start that super reactor a little bit sooner. I also never noticed the bottle tricks that this conscript in the middle is doing with his Molotov cocktail. Look at that! Flipping it behind his back. That is wild that he's able to do that. Terror drone on a prospector when the airfield is already there. A bit of a strange choice there, but hey, it's a choice indeed. As we have the MCV for the Soviets moving to the middle. 4 refineries for each player, relatively even, and then the 5th refinery is split. So just like the oil derrick, there is only the one 5th refinery. There's only the one oil derrick. A little bit less eco than a typical Red Alert 3 map, but in this case, with the Allied player going to the high ground and the Soviet player going on the low ground, there could be a 4th refinery taken right there. 4 Vindicators are out for the Allied player. Bullfrog's going to tag the Vindicators. They can... Oh, they could have snuck over and dropped the bombs, especially the 2 full health Vindicators. They could have sniped at least one of those sickles. I mean, if the sickle timing is perfect, then the jump timing is perfect, then maybe not, but I pretty much guarantee that you would have gotten one of the sickles, possibly both of them, depending on how many Vindicators you were willing to have their lives threatened. Is this going to be a full high ground versus low ground, like 4 refinery play from both players? Vindicators come in, they get 2 Bullfrogs traded for 2 Vindicators. Not a good trade for the Allied player down in that swap, but with a 4th refinery up and an oil derrick to boot, this is an Allied player who's going to be very comfortable trading out equal numbers of Vindicators and Bullfrogs, especially if a 2nd airfield gets deployed, which I feel like at this point you either go barracks, pump out a ton of infantry, or just go for your War Factory. But no, it's an MCV move, so I guess it also could be a turret push from the high ground down to the low ground. Barracks now going to be coming up. Possibly a couple of flak troopers to go inside of these buildings would be a very strong anti-air defense as 2 more Bullfrogs go down, and this time not a single Vindicator gets eliminated. MCV onto the low ground. Yui and Andre would be proud with a turret push coming up from the Allied player. No sentry gun here, no Tesla coil started. Wait a second, I didn't even realize. I don't think there's been a super reactor constructed in this game. Flak Trooper getting a kill there. No super reactor, so they can't even build a Tesla coil, and that's going to be a pretty good multi-gunner turret position there. We'll be able to kill off this refinery as well. Might even be in range of this War Factory eventually. And, hey, drop a couple of multi-gunner turrets. This base is pretty much shut down. And now the Soviet player is realizing the error of his ways. Zaku going to be losing 2 more sickles there. One of them did turn into, I think the glow may still need to be turned down. One of them, I think, turned into a terror drone, but that was also eliminated, it seems. And, yep, that is both harvesters dead. Engineer comes in. Move your MCV. Is he going to notice? Yes, he does. And the engineer gets sniped as well. So Yasumi having a good time in this game. 4 Vindicators roaming the map, able to bust down anything that they want. We'll go for the barracks. Nice and safe there. No Vindicators going down. And yeah, the super reactor does end up getting canceled. The MCV is going to be on the move. And with no income, I guess 1 refinery worth of income, but with virtually no income, it's hard to afford a super reactor and other stuff. Why? Why would you rebuild a harvester in the face of that multi-gunner turret? big mistake there. Honestly, selling off a lot of this infrastructure is the better plan. Then you could have finished your super reactor and potentially got out a Tesla coil on your opponent's base or something. In this case, it is going to be the barracks. I guess he's going to try and he might just try to engineer cap this airfield, which the Vindicators will be able to stop. Okay, yeah, they just bomb out the barracks. The flak cannon isn't done yet, so as soon as that flak cannon is done, it'll be slightly more dangerous for the Vindicators to do that, but you can also just fly the Vindicators away and then reposition them somewhere else, rebuild the airfield on the other side of the map, or whatever you want to do. In this case, they do just snipe down that flak cannon, and no flak troopers from the middle of the map have come over. So the bullfrogs got sniped. The flak troopers haven't gone for this building or anything like that. And the multi-gunner turret's continuing to just waste away at those buildings. MCV takes a big chunk of damage. Oh, he actually gets it. All 4 Vindicators change hands. Yasumi not paying attention at all. You'd think he would. But in this case, they change hands, and all 4 Vindicators change over to the other side. Will drop on the command hub. They should be able to refuel, rearm, and be ready to go to knock down that command hub. But this is still an extremely low value Soviet player. He just doesn't have a lot of income. Reactor going to be coming up. Second command hub going to be coming online, and the harvester can be rebuilt. Those cheaper allied harvesters can come online. Sell off the reactor, and the war factory to get a little cash back. Get a harvester online, and then as the Soviets, you have 2 refinery economy again. At the very least, you could have that. And of course, this refinery is vulnerable to be bombed out or to be potentially captured by an engineer. And yeah, just drop those bombs, clear out those peacekeepers, and clean up that allied base. All right, reactor is out. Sentry bombers are also out. Classic move for the allied player. Go for the sentry bomber right there at the 9-minute mark when you've gone like 5 refineries now. I guess he hasn't actually taken over these refinery locations, but he can. He could take over those refinery locations there on the low ground. Vindicators changing hands. Sentry bombers clearing out that refinery location. And this is a Soviet player with virtually no income as he's dropping below that 1.3K now that the refinery is dead. $0 in the bank for Zaku. He's going to have to sell something off to get himself a little bit of cash back. He's actually very limited on what he could sell. Barracks is an easy option to cancel whatever's building there. Yasumi with 9K in the bank, choosing not to spend it very wisely. And the flak trooper moving over. Satellite's going to get called down on top of this refinery. Will knock it down. $500 cash back for the Soviet player, and that should help him finish up that refinery. Vindicators get off the deck, but just barely. And it looks like they'll have one last bombing run before they go down, or you won't just keep them around until you build an airfield. And I'm assuming that stolen Vindicators could go and RTB to a Soviet airfield. I've never actually tried that before. I'm trying to think if that would have ever come up in a match, but no, it's not very common. And the Apollos show up to shred the Vindicators. The goofiness is off the charts, and finally, Yasumi has taken the double refinery on the low ground. So back up to a 3 refinery economy. These two players couldn't be more different from each other. One's playing red, one's playing purple. Soviets versus allies, and 11K in the bank just sitting there versus literally $4 in the bank. Not a lot of cash on hand for the Soviet player. And for the last little while, I think the predominant number of forces on the Soviet player's side has actually been these aircraft. He only has nine attacking units. Okay, so 5.1K of value, and 3 of that 3.6k is tied up in these Vindicators. So by far, oh, and a Peacekeeper as well. So by far, allies make up the majority of the value on this map. Super Reactor going to be built incredibly slowly, although it is now a 2 refinery economy for the Soviet player, and the Allied player happy to just play this one out very, very slowly. I hope he uses both sentry bombers to try and knock down this one terror drone. That would be the best choice that you could make. And then keeping these Vindicators off in the corner, hoping that they don't get noticed. What? You're just sending a Riptide to kill a terror drone? I can't believe that he's not going for the just ridiculous overpower. And I mean, the terror drone could actually just freeze that Riptide in place forever. One single Riptide isn't going to be enough. Cash out has happened, and he's gonna... What? I mean, I know these guys are making silly decisions of just playing this game for fun, but I mean, really, that is telegraphing to a different degree when instead of going for the refinery, you go for the building that costs almost nothing in between the refinery and the super reactor. The super reactor, heavily damaged, may have gone down, may have needed like a precision bomber as well or something, but that's a dead reactor. We can say that. And that is not the worst sentry bombing run I have ever seen in a game of Red Alert 3 either. So despite what you may think, that's actually not the worst sentry bombing targeting. Aegis Shield gets popped, all of those Vindicator bombs get wasted, and for the current moment, that Civ structure does survive. One sentry bomber going to target each refinery. So in this case, the refinery does actually survive. And yep, those Vindicators have finally found their home. Athena Cannon could be targeted by that terror drone. Instead, it'll be targeted by a satellite drop, which again, the Aegis Shield is popped for, but it's not enough. Turns out the second satellite busts through the Aegis Shield. First satellite gets absorbed by it. Second satellite, not so much. Double vet sentry bomber. Not often do we see a double vet sentry bomber in the game. Not often do we see a sentry bomber at all, let alone any kind of veterancy on it. We are on the cusp of getting a fully heroic sentry bomber, which would be exciting to see in its own right. Ore Collector. With a game this low economy, it actually does make sense to go for a Crusher Crane as well, if only to be able to recycle your ore collectors just because of the value you get back from them with a Crusher Crane. What is he gonna long distance harvest from the other location? I mean, I guess you can do that. I'm not sure why he's using the high health ore collector to roam around and he's using the low health ore collector to harvest, but you know, hey, that's what we're opting to do. This flak cannon from minutes ago in this game, Flak Trooper not actually getting any shots, and will finally land some shots. Vindicators need to get off the deck, and they do just in time, and Mig can go ahead and chase down the sentry bomber. No hero status for our sentry bomber friend. We'll take a little bit more damage from those flak troopers in the house, but eventually we'll make it back home safe and sound. Apollo does go down. I did think the Allied player would be wrapping this up before the 15-minute mark. Double Harvester frozen. The sentry bombers are on the other side of the map, so is there a precision airstrike that's going to come in? What is the play here? It's very bizarre to use the cryo blast, the cryo shot, right after your sentry bombers have returned to base, and you... Okay. All right. Anyways, Athena Cannon moving out on the south side, and sentry bombers coming in for another pass. They will be able to knock down the airfield. Crusher Crane is on the way, and the sentry bomber goes down. No! Does hand off a hero status to a MiG. Not that the MiG has anywhere to land, Athena Cannon in the south, Mirage Tank, couple of IFVs, absolutely massive. Aegis Shield doesn't get popped. This is the one time it doesn't get activated. And then, yeah, Satellite's pretty easy to avoid when you've got an army that's this mobile. And just gonna hang out here on the high ground. Why? Just cause. Waiting for the right moment to strike. Okay. I mean, what's the point? Okay, so the toxins get used. They'll drive away. And now, what do we got? What do we got? You just used a Cryogeddon. What is the goal here? Terror Drone will cross over and infect an IFV. 4 sentry bombers. All right, you can line up the shots. Oh yeah, clear out the building. That was the big threat to use the sentry bombers on. And Aegis Shield not needed when the lasers blast down the Terror Drone. So another bombing run comes in on that refinery, and the Athena cannons. Ooh. The targeting from the high ground has beginning, poking and prodding this base down. Harvester gets eliminated. Refinery soon to follow. And yeah, loading a Terror Drone inside of a Bullfrog and launching it up to the high ground. Not a great idea when there's this many IFVs. IFVs are more effective versus air targets than they are versus ground targets. So converting your Terror Drones into flying objects actually just benefits the IFVs more than it does those Terror Drones. One Athena does go down. Double Vet gets eliminated. Doesn't get the chance to go hero status, but the other Athena Cannon is just slowly chewing her way through these buildings and these units. Mirage Tank is here. You'd never know it from the giant signpost that's nearby. Tesla Trooper actually gets the lockdown, so it's going to take a while for those IFVs to actually kill off that Tesla Trooper just because they are so incredibly slow at killing infantry. And the Mirage Tank going to charge forward, going to try and kill that Hammer Tank. No Hero Hammer for you, but double Terror Drone to pop on out. Athena Cannon gets infected, and this is going to be a stop to this artillery attack from the allied player. IFVs could just try to suicide themselves onto this super reactor and get the kill. It will be the race of very slow IFV attacks versus these 2 Terror Drones. And the IFVs can, yeah, just park themselves to block additional walls. And now it truly is a race of the Terror Drones versus the IFVs. The Terror Drones were going to lose that race, so the sell-off does happen. And with 26K in the bank, this is an allied player who could have built, I think, pure engineer and won the game just by sending mass engineer across the map to capture all of the buildings one by one, and probably still would have won the game that way. All right, Crane coming in. Sentry bombers are finally going to do something. Mass sentry bombers, all 4 of them, drop their payload and will find at least a couple of kills there. Still managed to miss the Crusher Crane. It's frozen in place, can't move instantly, gets broken apart, and yet still the Sentry Bombers managed to miss it. If you steal a Tier 3 Allied MCV, that will be pure insanity. Okay. All right. How much are these guys just screwing around? If this happens, then you think that the whole game is a rage bait. If this happens, this whole game is fake. Now I'm more convinced that these 2 guys are just like on comms saying, oh, what would be funny to happen in a game? I'm going to use 4 sentry bombers to bomb out a building. This game, now it feels like an intentional rage bait as opposed to a genuine game by players who just aren't particularly good or are more interested in just like having a bit of fun than actually trying to win. The double cancel on the engineer capture as well. And then he goes goes for the wrong one anyways. He goes for the wrong timing with that refinery. Satellite drop getting called in. It's still just the tier 1 satellite drop, so it doesn't actually kill that airfield. And toxin drop also going to be coming in on top of the airfield. I'm not sure if the toxin damage does enough to out-repair or to out-damage the repair drones. Crusher crane does finally go down. Turns out 5 cryocopters is a pretty good build. If you go for the 5 cryocopter build, that's a good one to go for. And now we get to see, do toxins out-repair the drones? I guess because there's a limited number of repair drones, in theory they could. If you had 4 aircraft there, then one of the aircraft would be taking damage because there's only 3 repair drones. But in this case, no, they're fine. Fully hero, Riptide, and is this whole game an intentional rage bait? It just might be. With the way that these two are playing and the decisions they're making. These are either like the best of friends who are just chilling around, or this is an intentional rage bait game here on Maui Madness. MiG finally goes down. Cryocopters moving over. 1 cryocopter sacrificed. That's okay. You got 32K in the bank. Flak troopers also here. And Riptide can kill the thing that's frozen. Okay, there we go. And now these flak troopers could actually kill this Riptide if it targets the wrong thing, if it's like shooting a building while they close the distance. But there we go. Everything does go down, and I guess he can technically crush the Riptide with that MCV, or he could get shrunk down and just run away. Freeze comes in. I guess if you zoom in close enough, you can't really tell that the MCV is shrunken down until something else comes into frame. GG comes out. The Sentry Bomber gets another successful bombing run, and that will be it for the goofiest game here on Maui Madness. And we're here for one final game on Maui Madness. The silliness has been off the charts, as we have on the left side. Once again, playing the purple Soviets. This is Zaku. And on the right side, playing the Cyan Empire. We can actually see him this time. It's Tittywinkle here on version 2 of Maui Madness. So I'm curious what this map would look like if we got some higher level players on it. Ooh, and this is Refinery into War Factory. So delaying the second War Factory and going super fast into the super reactor as well. So we have something special planned for you. No Crusher Crane, so I would not think that it is a Tesla coil push, but it could be just straight into hammer tanks. Second refinery after that. You do spend a lot of money very, very quickly. I mean, we're 90 seconds into the game and we've already got $4,000 getting deployed in the last minute, and there's going to be 6 and 8. So this is a lot of cash down the drain. I guess you don't build a barracks, so you skip the barracks and you skip the engineer, but then of course you don't have an oil derrick to help out your income. First hammer tank is out, and the income should line up just enough. He can get another hammer tank out. He could go for a sickle or a terror drone instead. Okay, he does go for 2 hammer tanks, and yeah, now you're pretty much out of cash, but at least you've got a double refinery income, and you don't have to worry about power for possibly the rest of the game. Zaku moving out to the middle of the map, and if you see hammer tanks at 2 minutes, you have to wonder what in the world is going on in this game. Extremely fast hammer tanks coming out for Zaku, and they of course have been spotted. Tank busters would be very good. No tank busters under construction at the current moment, and well, Mecha Bay is extremely late by comparison to how fast this War Factory was. I like the idea of the follow-up with the airfield. I'm not sure how that works in terms of cash flow. Oh, there's more hammer tanks. So this is even more expensive. I thought it was just going to be the 2 hammer tanks. Could switch them over to Leech Beam just to delay some of that damage coming out from the Defender VX, get a little bit of healing back, and now you can just sort of fight off these Tengus Oh, there's actually a second defender core that I did not realize at first glance. So 2 more defenders coming up. One of them is definitely in range. This one might be, yeah, out of range or blocked by the Mecha Bay. And now you've got lots of time and space as the Soviet player. The follow-up being an airfield, which means Twin Blades could come out, and this can make it extremely difficult to deal with because now tank busters are not an easy, cheap way to deal with this. Is this straight into tier 2? Tengus would be hard to keep alive, but you can also cross the map and harass with Tengus, so that is another option. None of the harvesters have gone down, which is very good for Tittywinkle. I'm surprised Zeku hasn't managed to kill any harvester at this point. 1 hammer tank going down to the crush. A huge misstep here, especially since the Twin Blades haven't swung to this side of the map yet. They have not flown over. And okay, yeah, finally going to knock down one of these harvesters. You typically do kill harvesters a little bit sooner than that. And there's the Chopper VX. Do we have any MiGs on the way? This is the danger of letting them get out that tier 2 Mecha Bay. If you don't have MiGs or bullfrogs or something, you really can't escape back home, so you may as well turn and fight. Oh, he could split. He could split. Maybe this one hammer tank will survive because of the split. And Chopper VX has closed the distance, and there is a bullfrog. So the bullfrog might get the kill. We'll see. Bullfrog will be able to chase down the Chopper VX, and the hammer tank does survive, although it basically should not have in that situation. A couple of tank busters from the high ground now going to be making their way down to the low ground. I guess could have sold off this dojo a while ago. It really hasn't been used for anything. But Chopper VX is going to be stomping their way around. Harvester about halfway done as well, and that's where that oil derrick does help out considerably for the Empire player. Good idea for the hammer tank rush across the map. Didn't quite do enough with it to really knock down this Empire player. If he could have killed the Mecha Bay, or if he could have killed a couple of more harvesters, you know, knocked down one harvester, pivoted to the other side, knocked the other one down, maybe gone for some of those easier targets to kill off. Maybe he could have snowballed this into something, but for the current moment, both players are kind of stabilized. They're in an okay spot. Double refinery with an oil derrick versus the almost triple refinery of the Soviet player. And the tank busters are going to get a couple of kills, one on a hammer tank. And the bullfrogs might have some free shots to land on these choppers. Hammer tank gets caught in transition, sent over, and gets caught in the middle. That auto rally point. Actually, I don't know that there's anything here on this side to save the hammer tank either. There is now a MiG out. Choppers will transform. Goodbye to the MiG, and then they can wait out their timer and transform back to continue killing off this base. And of course, in this case, you sometimes just have to play a little bit of find the weak angle in this base. Might need to transform here. Okay, they get back into the sky. No Tengus. No Tengus out so far for this Empire player, which is quite odd to see an Empire player not building any Tengus at all, just completely skipping that part of the build tree. In this case, we'll be able to transform and catches another MiG as well. So Twin Blades gonna need to be careful. You don't want to fight 3 Chopper VXs with 2 Twin Blades like that. And for the current moment, the Twin Blades escape off to the north side of the map. Barracks are going to be coming in. 3rd refinery finally up and running for this Soviet player. And it does feel like both players have finally stabilized and they can kind of proceed as normal. Maybe the Soviet player wants to pivot up to the north to try and take this far away expansion, or start fighting for the high ground and go for that refinery on the high ground. Either way, the game has normalized after our pretty bizarre openings. Kind of sad that there isn't anything in the corner. There are these 2 civilian structures, but they're not particularly valuable way off in the corners there. They're more decals or decoration on the map than they are anything else. 3rd refinery coming up for the Empire player. Gonna help him maintain that income advantage. with the help of that oil derrick. Third refinery finally up, so he can return to his income advantage over the Soviet player. Fourth refinery would help even things up once again. It's kind of crazy after all of this, you know, losing the harvester, having the oil derrick, everything has evened out. They're both on almost the exact same total income gathered, despite the fact that the oil derrick was captured so much earlier, and the third refinery really didn't come online all that quickly for the Soviet player, but he did kill a harvester of his opponent, and he did have the faster third refinery compared to the Empire player. Zaku is going to have to deal with these chopper VXs at some point, and in this case, Zaku having this high ground vision is nice. I believe this was initially captured by Tittywinkle, who I believe is now going to recapture that. A couple of bears out onto the map, and I don't know, going for a dreadnought might actually be the play. Go towards the naval base in the north, and then go for a dreadnought and use your, you know, bullfrogs, twin blades. An engineer on the far side. Are you kidding? He's actually gonna get the mecha bay as well, and he sees that there is an additional refinery here, so he can try to go for the kill on that. Tesla coil is going to be deployed, and now everything has been revealed. One Tengu. No, he's actually going tsunami tank. He can kill this. Actually might have to sacrifice for it if the defender cores target the tsunami tank. They do die pretty quickly. He doesn't go for the suicide kill on that refinery, which I feel would have been the better play. Just go straight for that. And the Mecha Bay will absorb a lot of this attention and a lot of this damage. Chopper VXs will manage to win the 3v1, or the choppers in the sky rather, against the striker on the ground. And with no anti-air, that will be the end of that push. Mecha Bay does get deployed, and it looks like that refinery core did end up going down. Did he really not realize the Soviet player was there? I'm not sure why he drove it directly into the Soviet player's MCV. Should have sent it almost literally anywhere else, but the Twin Blades could have found it anywhere that it went. There aren't a lot of safe spots, safe places to send a refinery. He would have had to send it out over the water to that northern expansion in the 12 o'clock position. Terror Drone gets an infect, which normally wouldn't be a problem, but if he can stasis this tsunami tank, then he can actually kill it off with the Terror Drone. Tank busters are not engaging at the current moment there. The Imperial Warrior saves this tank, and it may not even save it because the satellite drop comes in. So if he went back for repairs, he would have ended up just dying to the satellite drop anyways. Mass bear coming out from Zaku. That Mecha Bay steal has really saved him in this game. Bear's gonna come in, they get a roar off, force all of the strikers to move into position to try to body block for some of these tank busters, but strikers have bullfrogs and flak cannons to contend with, so they can't transform into choppers, which means, yeah, these bears for the current moment are going to be able to keep all of these tank busters locked down. Tesla coil does manage to be established, and finally these tank busters can be knocked down. Tesla coil is not actually targeting them, but there it will maybe just select it and attack them. We'll see if the Tesla coil actually starts knocking them down or not. I guess you do have to manually target each of the tank busters individually, but the Tesla coil will kill them off if given the chance. Tier 2 Mecha Bay knocked down by the engineer, and now this fresh Mecha Bay gonna have to be eventually upgraded to tier 2 if he wants to produce anything other than Tengus. Tengu's being sent out one by one for some reason. A number of questionable decisions in this game, but none more questionable than some of these Tengu positions in the last minute or so. Soviet player up on economy with those 4 refineries versus the 3 refineries and the oil derrick of his opponent. And of course, these Twin Blades, I don't know where the twin blades are at the current moment, but wherever they are, they should just be killing off this oil derrick, this dojo, this observation post, all for free, and then potentially even threatening this refinery. The twin blades really could be doing a little bit more. And even if you end up losing them because you're not paying attention, you lose them to Tengu's, Chopper VXs, or whatever, it's still worth it to get the oil derrick at the very least. And hey, if your opponent gets drawn out of position, maybe you can actually move in and do something with it. I love that it's hammer tanks and flak troopers going for the kill on these tank busters, which just takes an extremely long time, but they do it eventually. They do knock down those units, and the pure goofiness does continue. Imperial Docks is up. Sea Wings being produced. Always love a good transforming unit. Sea Wing Skywing combo is super fun to use. Not necessarily a game-winning combination in this case, but you never know. King Oni out on the map. Satellite drop comes in on the Mecha Bay, and they can kill the bears. So that, you know, they can kill the bears. They can kill those flak troopers as well, and they get blasted by those bullfrogs. No big surprise there. Terror Drone could go for the infect or go for the lockdown on some of these big units, stopping a King Oni from being able to engage. And with no flak troopers, the hammer tanks are actually outgunned. No Tengus or no Twin Blades showing up to fight alongside these hammer tanks either. So both players just sort of slowly walking at each other. Yuriko Omega now out on the map. The Twin Blades show up, but they dive super deep on the attack line. They don't go for the out front targets at all. Yuriko now going to juggle 4 bullfrogs, which is maybe the easiest juggling she's ever had to do. Really no threat there to be worried about. And this Soviet player now going to lose the hammer tanks because everything else has been eliminated. A bit unfortunate for the Soviet player. MiG's now going to be moving in position, may be able to knock down some of these Chopper VXs. Going to have a difficult time dealing with Yuriko, but Twin Blades might be able to do it. One Twin Blade goes down, the other one gets the kill. The hero Twin Blade for the Soviet people, and an engineer produced, hoping that Wave Force artillery doesn't knock him down. One more rocket, not enough. If another rocket had come out just at the end of that Twin Blade's life, maybe he could have gotten the kill on the Wave Force, but it was not meant to be. And the Soviet player somehow still maintains 5 refineries, even though he's only got 4 harvesters for the current moment. Gonna be difficult to stop this Empire force. I don't know why the King Onis are not joining the fight. Yuriko Omega back out onto the map, and the Soviet player just waiting for doom to come his way. Terror Drone gonna try and move back for the repairs. Yuriko can just kill the Terror Drone. Oh my gosh, he just lets the Terror Drone kill off Yuriko, and just restart, build another one. There we go. That actually might be another Yuriko coming out onto the map for the Soviet player. Actually, a couple of Twin Blades. This is some real signs of life from Zaku. Twin Blades actually going for a bit of harass, killing off a harvester. Could now turn around and try and kill the King Oni in the main base. I guess you don't have to. King Onis can't swim, so you just go out over the water and just hang out there with your Twin Blades all day. You've got 1 refinery, so you've got an infinite amount of income. Oil derrick could be a target as well. Pretty easy to knock down the oil derrick and the barracks when the Empire player can't produce any anti-air infantry. Could also try and go for the power plants. Yuriko already out on the field, just over there on the left side of the screen. Tengu gonna rank up, but he's already heroic. He's gonna go double heroic for all of these Twin Blades that he's about to kill. And down on the ground, the Defender VX transforms as well and will blast down those Twin Blades. Good night. to the Twin Blades as the Soviet players' chance of winning this game dwindles ever lower. Technically, there are some terror drones that can kill off some of these units, but it's going to be hard to defend that base out there on the water with just like one Twin Blade. Tengu could go for the transform to kill off this Twin Blade, but may not actually notice that the Twin Blade is there. And the Sea Wing manages to get a kill as well. Yuriko possibly going down, also possibly inside of this building. You never can tell with that tricky little commando. Twin Blade eventually will go down, ranking up some more Tengus in the process. Always good to rank up a couple of Tengus in the process. And one down, two down. That is double hero terror drones out on the map for the Soviet player. Always nice to see a hero terror drone roaming around, causing all sorts of problems for the Empire player. Hero King Oni could be locked down and potentially infected by a terror drone. And hey, if it can happen to this guy, it can happen to the Hero King Oni as well. One Tengu just sort of on Overwatch over top of that Soviet base. Bullfrog will actually scare away that Tengu. May even get the kill there. May even get a little rank up. There we go. Bullfrog manages to get a rank up. What's the max range on a King Oni? On a Hero King Oni, it's a little bit less than that. Whatever the range is between those 2 points, King Oni range is a little bit less than that. This King Oni could actually make it. No, there's no War Factory. Well, it does happen sometimes. If this terror drone kills the King Oni and then infects the Dojo core as well, or the Mecha Bay core, that would be hilarious. Imperial Warrior moving in position to kill off that terror drone. And the Imperial Warrior doesn't actually win the fight. The terror drone can outrun, even on high damage mode, on the low movement mode. He outruns the Imperial Warrior, so goodbye to that Imperial Warrior. And the salvage ship, is he just kind of caught? Is the pathing cut off because of this Soviet base, and so he's just sort of like turning around? We're at the stage of the game where we're watching the path of the NPC salvage ship. Hey, the Dreadnought! It finally did come out. This actually, well, we'll see. Are there any Twin Blades left to kill off Yuriko? For some reason, this Dreadnought is moving in... Why are you trying to hit a fast-moving infantry target? Why are you using, like, the afterburners to do it as well? Okay, Yuriko does to the terror drone, so goodbye to the terror drone. The Tier 3 barracks has been cleaned up. So maybe this is a Tier 3 barracks now. Not actually sure where the Empire player has sent their resources. Shogun Battleship gonna target down that Dreadnought, and yep, good night to the Dreadnought. Ooh, Shogun takes a lot of damage as well there. Akula Sub Ultra Torpedoes might be able to end this Shogun Battleship, but no! Ultra Torpedoes don't come out. Oh, it's a Bullfrog. Bullfrog gets the big damage. Oh, the chopper transforms. Too bad. One single Rocket Angel knocks down a MiG, and okay. I guess Natasha got produced at some point on this map. Engineer does get shut down. Hey! Hey, look at that. Natasha sniping a King Oni pilot and turning the King Oni over to the Soviet hands. I guess the Paralysis Whip could just kill off that King Oni. Well, not kill off, but lock down that King Oni and keep it in place. Shogun Battleship low on health, slowly regaining that health bar from being full hero status. King Oni not going to be... The Tengu is not going to be the one who actually kills off Natasha, and Natasha may have an advantage on her own map. Going to be running around, just forever avoiding the damage of this striker. Oh, Naginata Cruiser manages to wipe her out. And Rocket Angel does actually go down. I can't believe where this game has turned around the 10 different times that it has. Mecha Bay back out on the field. Shogun Battleship gets infected. This terror drone gonna be a hero if he manages to save. I guess the Soviet MCV is the only thing left in the space. Everything else has gotten wiped out. So that Terror Drone definitely a little bit late to the party. The Bullfrog comes in from the south and kills it off. And the Naginata cruisers can't actually kill the MCV fast enough before it gets out of range. The Terror Drone kills the Shogun, and down to the depths it goes, crashing onto the ocean floor. And the Soviet King Oni manages to finally kill that barracks like 20 minutes after it finished construction. It finally does get wiped out. If this is a tier 3 satellite drop, this is like professional rage baiting. It's a tier 3 satellite drop on an oil derrick. Why? Why would you do that? You have a barracks. You could have even produced an engineer now that you've wiped out this barracks of your opponent. Why did you use a tier 3 satellite drop? Like, if the players choose a strategy that's bad, or they're not super fast on the keyboard, that I get. I understand that, because not everyone wants to play at a high intensity or practice or those sorts of things. But, like, choosing to drop a tier 3 satellite instead of, like, on a mecha bay, or using the King Oni to, like, knock down, you know, like, knock down this refinery, anything like that, on these power plants, using the King Oni to get a little bit of vision, using a Terror Drone to get a little bit of vision. Like, that's one click. That's not a skill issue of execution. I guess it is a skill issue of execution, but not in the way of these other, of the ways these players are playing. Now I don't know. Now I don't know. This is, this feels like professional rage baiting from these players. He's killing the salvage ship! Whoever does that, it should, like, blow up the unit that kills the salvage ship. It should be a self-own. If you kill the salvage ship, it should, blow up whatever unit killed it. That should be the rule for the map. That's my suggestion to you. Write a little custom script that gets packed along with the map that whatever unit kills the salvage ship ends up dying. It deals like 9,000 damage or whatever to that unit. There we go. Terror Drone gets wiped out. Other Terror Drone gonna lock down that Naginata. There we go. Oh. We're in full fast forward mode. Let's see. Yeah, 4 minutes later, nothing has happened. And basically, truly nothing has happened, because this Terror Drone is still just locking down that Naginata. Natasha is gonna snipe it. She could snipe the other one as well. Terror Drone gonna lock down the Naginata in place, and then Natasha can snipe it out. But you know, how are you gonna take it over? It's not worth using Natasha to take that over. This Tengu sniped earlier in the game hasn't actually been claimed by anyone, and refinery coming in. Final squadron. All right, there we go. Closing in on the 30-minute mark. In the last 8 minutes, almost nothing has happened. And Tengu's gonna tag those Tesla troopers. Anything can happen at this point. Tank busters could start shooting up for some reason. You never know. Is this a tier 3 satellite drop on a mecha bay? What an insane idea. That's crazy. I'm pretty sure there's a civilian structure you could have dropped that on. Ah, that's wild. Imagine if you had a twin blade to attack it as well. You could have dropped it on this. You could have dropped the tier 3 satellite on that. King Oni did not stick around to try and fight that. Tengu now on the Soviet side as well. Natasha doesn't target the mecha bay. Nothing combos with that satellite drop, at least not at the current moment. And Do another little cheeky fast forward. And, well, I guess we did finally miss something. Finally, something did happen. You know, looks like Natasha got killed off there. But the rest of this, I didn't even fast forward. That one's not even on me. Which, let's just get to the end of this one. 120K for the Soviet player. That is actually quite the income discrepancy between these two. All right, that one was on me. Tesla Trooper goes down. Naval Yard gonna get built. Natasha back out on the field. Ooh, so is Yuriko. You can sometimes see the pattern developed by these players. They start going for particular things. Shogun Battleship managing to get the shutdown. What is it? Is that Toxin? On his own Natasha, he Toxin dropped so that she could run away, but like, yeah, just walk around it. Yuriko now coming in from the angle. Natasha can get the snipe. Terror drone. A lot of targets here for the Empire player to go for. Bullfrogs and Flax managed to clear out the Tengus in the sky, and now Yuriko did go down. She got sniped, and she slowly fades into the ground. Natasha better not run into her own noxious chemicals. There's a Chopper VX over here, so Chopper VX could kill Natasha. Natasha should just snipe the Shogun pilot, and then I guess forever have to dodge. What are you doing? Okay, there we go. Yes, she does use the snipe. And jump into the Shogun! Save herself by jumping into the Shogun. And she can ram the Tengu. You know, I guess not. She's gonna die to the Chopper VX. No, she's not! Natasha won't die to the Chopper VX. Now she really should ram the Tengu. And then she can shoot everything else. Is there anything to kill the Tengu? No, there's not. So I guess you just trade. You trade the Shogun Battleship. Try and get the Naval Yard. Barely not enough. Oh, yeah. One more volley will do it. The Tengu's not teaming up on the Shogun fast enough. Will they get it? No! One more volley didn't happen. The reset wasn't fast enough. Hammer tanks moving forward. 10 grand in the bank, basically, for Zaku. And not using that to try and win the game at the current moment. Natasha not out on the field to match. Oh, there we go. Natasha's back out on the field with a little cohort of conscripts. And there's going to be the juggling. Tengu goes up into the sky. Tengu gets blasted, and everyone else moves into position. Is this Final Squadron? Final Squadron, I think, coming in. Will kind of tag Natasha, and double Tengu on top of Natasha for the snipe. Will be able to transform and get the kill. Final Squadron doesn't really help out at all. The Badger Bomber just not fast enough. Natasha may have gone down, but so does the War Factory, and the satellite drop afterwards just to make sure. Terror drone gets the kill on Yuriko anyways, and then the Terror drone goes down as well. Satellite drop almost on top of his own hammer tanks, and he really wanted to make sure that that War Factory goes down. Hammer tank's gonna heal up a little bit off of this ore refinery, and well, I think, never say never, but I think this is finally closing in. Why are you running away? What is the threat here? He's gonna go down in the ground and then you're gonna kill the refinery anyways? Like, there's nothing. Toxin drop maybe on top of the building that's empty? Oh, well, that's good. At least that tank buster's dead now. Another Mechaba coming on out. Harvester gets sniped, so denies that little quarter of an ore load from the depleted ore mine. Conyard can break the attack, but nope. Just gonna stay all deployed like that. Natasha now gonna be targeting War Factory. Hero Imperial Warrior. A good try, but not quite enough. And now Yuriko versus a Hero Natasha. Not a good fight for the Yuriko to get into, especially when there's 6 sickles here as well. Yuriko... I mean, if Natasha's, you know, pointed in a different direction, then Yuriko could kill her, but I don't think that's likely to happen, but never say never when a couple of these players are playing. Sickle's gonna jump in, all on top of Yuriko, and Paralysis Whip not necessary here for this Rocket Angel. Eventually, Yuriko does go down, but Rocket Angel's now out on the map. A couple of Bullfrogs. Actually, only one Bullfrog. That's not enough to kill off these Rocket Angels if they lock down that Bullfrog. Engineer capture sound. Oh, no, it wasn't an engineer capturing sound. It was an ore collector capturing sound as the GG comes in and Tittywinkle has been defeated. Zaku gets the win, 144k over the course of this game, and that will do it for the Maui Madness Showcase. Some fun games, some silly games, some rage-baiting games, and that will be it. Please check out Silver Knight PCs at the link below. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.